Hey everybody, I'm back on time. Swiss National Day today, 1st of August. We're working, committed to this project. No rest for the wicked. Crypto never sleeps, and we live by that dream. And I've been back to back all day, even in this dreary, quiet, depressing market. It was a bummer yesterday. Brutal day, shocking in some extent. But again, hi, thanks everybody for joining Truflation Nation. I'm Stefan Roost. I'm the founder and CEO of True Labs, which is helping develop the protocol around Truflation and the Truflation Stream Network. So happy to be here again. I do this every Tuesday, depending on what time zone you're in. This is the time I do it, but I do it every Tuesday and Thursday. So stay tuned. Please come in, listen, join. We do this every day at 6 p.m. Central European time, 12 a.m. Hong Kong, Asia Pacific time, and then 12 p.m. Eastern time. So that's what we do. This is how we share our information and give you the feedback you're looking for around alpha, which is what we talk about in segment 1. What are some of the news? What's really stood out for us this week? We go into our partnerships, maybe some of our products. And then lastly, we go into community questions that you might be sharing with us. And asking us through the channel. We will do more live stream. You can hit the comments in the live stream. So please smash the likes, hit the subscribe button, get in here and give us your feedback when you're ready. That said, let's dig right into it. Guess what? We had the FOMC meeting yesterday, and it was not very favorable. Number one, no interest rate movement. So no dropping in interest rates, but no increase in interest rates. And then number two, we also had the hawkish references from Jerome Powell indicating that based on the numbers that he's seeing right now, there may not be a interest rate drop in September. And the markets took that pretty accurately. And you can see some of the changes in the market. Here you can see FOMC FedWatch is sharing with us right here that 80%, and so this is a drop, but the drop is much less, right? So tiny drop here, 80% still, but this was up at 90% before, right? So this has dropped by 10%. So people are still hoping for a drop in interest rates, but let's see. We'll see. If you still go by Truflation data, Truflation.com is going to be showing you exactly what is the number. And you can see that the number is dropped to 1.3%. Here, let me just share this with you. I always have to load it again. I love loading it. Number one, and here we got the inflation index. Come here. I'm sharing this tab with you right now. 1.38%. We had another drop. Look at this decline that's happening here. Inflation is coming down. So it's year-on-year comparison. Remember, year-on-year. We are looking at last year's number to this year's number. How has the price changed? Prices overall across the whole basket are up 1.38% only year-on-year change. That's why we wrote that here. This is the change of year-on-year. Again, in aggregate, we get criticized a lot. Why it's only 1.38%? Well, you can see prices go up significantly. Why? That is because in aggregate, we've actually experienced a 25% increase in prices since the beginning of this decade. So 2020. We've seen a price increase of 25%, 25% price increase. Wow, that's quite a lot, right? So that's a quarter. Everything is a quarter more expensive, or you need a quarter more money to be able to buy that. So that's not very nice and not very helpful. Anyway, so, is Jerome Powell, my personal opinion, this is not Truflation's opinion, I think they're going to be too late to the game again to try and change. They came to the game too late in terms of raising interest rates and trying to pull money back in to bring inflation down. But they rose it significantly. I mean, the increase in interest rates were every single time, bang, 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 bang. This time, they're going to be too late in dropping the interest rates. And will we hit a recession? Because numbers are down, employment rates are up, earnings missed. Do you not think that unemployment is going to continue to grow? And I think Jerome Powell and the existing administration, are they happy with continued growth? I know they're separate. They're supposed to be separate. But who's Jerome Powell's boss? It's Janet Yellen. And are they happy with seeing seeing more unemployment? I don't know. But let's see where that goes, how that ends up. But that's just something that we're seeing in the market. And I just wanted to share that with you. We have also noticed that, guess what happened in England? The Bank of England decided to rate cuts. They're dropping interest rates. So not only is Canada 2 successive months of dropping interest, 2 successive periods of dropping interest rates, now the Bank of England is dropping interest rates. The European community dropped interest rates. So everybody around is dropping interest rates. So what does that mean? And how is that going to impact everything? And if you want to find out, anyway, so, if you look, all of this is having an impact on the economy, right? I mean, you can argue what you like. High interest rates are having an increase in the economy. It's having a significant impact on the interest that is needed to service the debt. $1.5 trillion a year to service the existing debt at the existing interest rates. And by the way, these interest rates are really in the short-term bills that are being issued. So they're not in the 10-year bonds, but the yields are crashing on the 10-year bonds. So something is happening in this market, and we're trying to find out what, and we will be finding out and sharing more of what that is. But here you can see Balaji did a really nice post sharing the fact that this economy isn't real, right? We're printing money to stay up. It's propped up by record debt. Look at this debt that's out there. You can see it's huge, right? Look at that debt, and it's growing, right? And they will fake it till they break it, not make it, break it. Interesting play of words. Always fun to see Balaji's comments out there. But you can see debts are growing. It's in notes, it's in T-bills, and it's in bonds, right? So T-bills is the biggest portion. T-bills are shorter term. Notes are sort of midterm, and then the bonds are ultimately the long-term interest-bearing promissory notes that the government is issuing to people that buy that they will pay those back. All the meanwhile, you're seeing the economy really get hit. You can see car prices are crashing, coming down, right? This is the period where most people buy their cars in this section of the year. People are buying their cars. It's having an impact. Everything is shifting. Prices are coming down. You can see people buying less used cars, buying new cars. Everything is down. So prices are significantly dropping to get people to buy cars, right? How can I buy cars? And EV makers with our EV index is being hit the hardest, right? Prices are down 40%. Buy an EV vehicle. I mean, it's like good value, good cheap price, 40% down. And some of those BYD cars are now at $10,000. I mean, they're Chinese manufactured, but I don't know. I have a Ford Mustang Mach-E. I love that car. Really good fun, drives really nice. Once you go electric, you just don't want to go back. Why? The acceleration is phenomenal. All the gadgets and the buttons and the visibility is amazing. The response to the accelerator and the different electric gears are amazing. Really good fun. And I won't go back because I really enjoy it. And I'm actually going out of my way to, number one, continue to have an electric vehicle and trying to find the best electric vehicle that goes the furthest and gives me the biggest bang for my buck. Even if I have to wait 20 minutes to fully charge up, I will do that now. I've just learned to enjoy electric vehicles much more than ICE cars. Maybe it's time to get a Tesla. Maybe. I've test driven it. Excuse my English, really bad. But yeah, all of these are just interesting indicators that we're seeing in terms of what's happening in the economy again. Is it too late when the FOMC is deciding to cut rates? We've seen it in England, we've seen it in Canada, in Europe. All these markets are dropping rate, and the unrealized losses by a lot of unrealized losses by all the banks are growing and growing. And I've shared that with you in the past, so take a look at that and learn from it what you will. At the same time, interesting, there is very little in terms of prices moving around. So home prices are up. Why are housing prices moving up? Because there's very little in supply. Nobody wants to sell the house. Nobody wants to get a new mortgage in order to buy a house at these high rates in anticipation that possibly interest rates will come down. So there's very little in circulation. And of course, the people that are selling know that once they sell, they need to buy something new, and they need to get a mortgage on that new place that they want to buy. And that's going to come at a much higher interest rate for that mortgage. And so home prices are moving up, and interest rates will have to come down at some point, right? Why? Because mortgage rates, not interest rates, mortgage rates will come down because the banks aren't selling anything anymore, and they're going to want to try and provide a more competitive rate, enable people to purchase and leverage and get a mortgage at a slightly cheaper rate than they are right now. Forecasts are they will come down. On the flip side, if you were paying attention if you were listening to my podcast last this Tuesday, you will have noticed that we talked about prices of electricity. We see utilities bills, at least based on the auction numbers. Again, we track a lot of leading economic indicators. What is going to tell us where inflation is going to go into the future? That's what we're looking for. That's how we try to help. So we track commodities, we track supply chain, we look at electricity auctions, energy supply, food supply. How are all of these impacting the future of prices of goods that we purchase? Employment data, housing data, all of these assets we're trying to bring and track so that we can share more insights with you and have this available for you to experience, right? Anyway, one of the things that we've realized is the way the utility business or energy business works is you have power plants, you have a grid, and then you have utilities. And the grids are broken down into various jurisdictions across West Coast, East Coast, Texas, etc. And so you can see what that looks like. And let me see if I can find a graph. I had a really good graph. Who had that available up there? And let me see where I can find that. Oh man, I can't. There was a really good visual around where and how the geographical breakdown looked. Here we go. Yeah, I'm going to share this with you. Here, deck, here, bang. Okay, share this tab instead. So here you can see what the reliable, Western interconnections, you can see the grids as terms of how they're set up across dude, what the hell is this here? Why do I need this? I don't know, man. I want this on the whole page. Okay, so here you can see Texas has its own interconnection and grid network, Eastern Grid Network. There's another network up there. So you can see all the different networks. And so ultimately, what does that mean? The power plants are bidding to provide a certain requirement to these specific jurisdictions and the utilities in those jurisdictions with energy. There is a price for that energy. And ultimately, that price will need to be paid for. There are two things that come into the equation here. One is the aspect around actual traditional power plants that are delivering energy based on the capacity that they have to produce and to distribute, right? The prices for power plants landed at $269 per megawatt. So $270 compared to a year ago at $29. So 270. So that's a 10x increase nearly in terms of cost of electricity. Now, there are multiple ways to deal with that. That might not be paid for, directly. There may be subsidies that kick in. There are multiple ways to reduce that, but it takes some 10 to 20 years to build power plants and to grow and meet the increased demand. So one way that is being used to address this is the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, where there is a component in there that if you use renewable energy sources, e.g. solar panels on your roof, you will get a subsidy of $10,000 as you're using renewable energy. And so that's a way to incentivize a development of energy independence and to create a more distributed network of energy development and power creation. And so that's one way to do it. The other way is to subsidize the development of big power plants. These take 10 years to build, though. Look at China. We shared with you, I think 2 sessions ago or 3 sessions ago, about what they were doing around nuclear and how nuclear was growing in China. 30 nuclear power plants they're building, but they've been working on this for 20 years, 20 years, right? So it takes 20 years to build out these power plants. Now, let's say you're super efficient, you're fast, you can get all the approvals you need, you can do all the testing, and you want to launch these, and boom, maybe you can do it in 10 years. That's fast. That's half the speed. And this is just a pebble. I think it's a pebble rock reactor, so it just has a different type of burn free, right? So it's burn proof, so it cannot melt down. And so that's one of these new reactors, and maybe there was an innovation in that process, so it took an extra 20 years. So let's say we can get down to 5 years. Brilliant. But China will have an amazing amount of energy. And ultimately, if you think about it, all of the things that we are building, AI, they're all, data centers, internet, technology, robots, they're all going to need energy. We all need transformers. We all need to have and attract that kind of power and that support in the next future wave of growth. For everything we do, we're going to need energy. And so ultimately, we need to build for that. And how do we do that? And I guess the Inflation Reduction Act is going to help in that area. But yeah, that's sort of some of the insights that I wanted to cover off, some of the things that we think about and we talk about in our various conversations at Truflation. And yeah, we'll hope to get more of this. I don't want to go too much into the detail around too much, but yeah, we have a number of other things lined up. So let me come into some of the things that we're talking about right now, which is some of our activities over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to plug our Truflation Spaces because, as we know, there is going to be another inflation announcement. And what we have right here is stay tuned, listen in, sign up now, get in early. We are going to announce and have a really good spaces around inflation on August 13th, 3:30 p.m. That is Central European time. So it's going to be 9:30 a.m. in Eastern time. So stay tuned. We've got Henrik Zeberg and Elliot Wave. So we've got some really interesting insights in terms of where inflation is going to go. Not only do we obviously have Oliver's numbers and the Truflation collaborated number and view on where the industry is going, we will share more on that with you as well. But we've also got experts coming on and sharing insights and where they think inflation's going, especially given what we just talked about with what's happening in Canada, what's happening in the UK, what's happened in Europe, and then where Powell is taking us with US inflation. So I just thought that would be interesting to share, get your thoughts on that, what you think, and ultimately ask lots of questions and tell us what you think, right? And so we can ultimately learn from your thoughts around this. The other thing, I know EV vehicles are down 40% in terms of pricing. So maybe it's a good time to look into, when you're buying a new car, to look into EVs. I don't know if that's something on the cards. Take a look at it. But we have a detailed report that we've put together. So we talked about it. We shared about this on Tuesday, where you can download it. It's a 3-minute read. Nice read here. Lots of nice graphs that you can see how it's doing in the whole world. And it's just going up. In the long term, sales of EVs will go up. And you can see it's happening really in China. The number of vehicles that are being sold that are electric, bang, in China. The US is low. Europe is slightly higher. Ultimately, why? Most probably because the distances that people use a car to travel are far greater in the US. And in Europe, I don't know why in Europe, the distances may be a lot closer. And so ultimately, it is less of an issue. Also in Europe, though, there's a very good public transportation system, and airlines are like dirt cheap. It's like $20 to fly from, place to place across Europe. I mean, depends if you're flying like an EasyJet or something like that. But either way, digressing, come back to topic. Production per vehicle. You can see the types of vehicles. BEV, HEVs, PHEVs. So ultimately, are they full electric vehicles, or are they hybrid, or even are they fuel cell vehicles, right? FCEVs is a fuel cell. Nobody's buying fuel cells. And there was a conference, I think it was a while back, and then Europe was talking about FCEVs. But anyway, good graphs here. You can then see ultimately the types of vehicles and the growth of those vehicles, right? Fuel cell vehicles, somehow people think that fuel cells are going to be pretty important. Battery, nowhere. I can't even see them. Actually, they're in the green color. But in the purple, you can see plug-in hybrids, and then battery is BEVs, and then you can see them in white, still dominating. Hybrids, important, right? If you want to travel more distance, you need hybrids. Why? It gives you more distance. So take that as you will. That's really that insight. Check out Truflation.com. Go to our blog post and then check out electric vehicles index. And if you're not excited about that enough, you can actually go and see our EV index. A quick link, boom, I'm in there. I can see EV index is down, down, down. Why? Because prices of commodities are coming down. You can see that here. Copper price down, but the big one, 48% of most is lithium. Lithium matters to all EVs. And here you can see down, down, which is very much correlating to this down, the price of the basket. So ultimately, lithium does have the biggest impact. Anyway, that's really it from us there. I will, go into that. I think the next thing is there are some questions that a lot of you asked and raised, and I will address those right now. DR Pax or Dr. Pax asking, pretty pleased with sugar on top plot, government CPI on top of your daily plot with 1 month average of Truflation CPI. I don't quite understand that question. I mean, do you guys, can you help me understand this? I'll share this tab. Truflation, pretty please with sugar on top. Okay, pretty please with sugar on top. Plot, government CPI on top of your daily plot with a 1 month. Yes, we will do that. We talked about that today at the meeting. Sorry, I get it now. You're asking us to do a question with pretty please on top. So we will do a plot on the government numbers and how they move based on monthly thoughts. And then we will have the daily updates on Truflation and then share that with you. Good point. We thought that would be a really good piece to bring out, and will do. Yes. And hold me accountable for that. I will get that to you within the week. We will work on that. Thanks for your patience and thanks for bringing that question. Good point. Yeah, the next one is CB Duck. Ask Coinbase Duck. Am I the only one thinking holding rates at 5 is for 2 more months is crazy? Nope, you're not. And I don't think I could have advocated this harder. I actually think we should have started with a smaller drop today, unlocked a bit of the market. Inflation is going to hold. It's down at 1.3% based on Truflation. So, yeah, you look at the numbers, you look at the economy, are we trying to drive into a ditch? Are we trying to push this into a recession? Let's see. I think they're trying to manage a soft landing. We'll see. The economic data is still pretty good. I mean, growth is still happening. I think people are spending money over the holidays. People are traveling. There is still consumer habits. The spending is good. Retail is still not too bad. Services are still pretty good. So anyway, we will actually work on that and we will see. I mean, ultimately, we will share, join our call on the next Twitter Spaces right here. And we will let you know what will happen here. And these numbers are going to matter. I think it's crazy that we haven't dropped a little bit. I bet on the fact that we would. A lot of people thought that he would be dovish. So the press announcements, we would keep interest rates the same, but he would allude to the fact that in September we would drop interest rates. We did not get that. It is still hawkish. It is still concerning. And let's see how the rest of this summer falls out. Time will tell. We can interpret everything, but I think we've come to a point where we're not looking at the numbers anymore. We're starting to dissect what people say, and they change maybe 10 words in their statement they copy and paste what they said last time, issue it again, and change some of the numbers in there. And that's what the FOMC does. I think we need to get to more metrics, more numbers, and look at the underlying in the economy and how the economy is performing, and do this at a high frequency, not at a monthly rate. I mean, that way we don't actually need to have these calls. We can actually just go straight into reviewing the numbers and then just update based on the metrics that are coming out, and then make decisions then. Anyway, that's it for today. Shorter. Those are your questions. Give us more questions. Let us know. And hope you like this. Please hit the like, subscribe, give us comments, follow us on Twitter. We are here and we want to listen. We've got a lot of product and announcements coming. The team's building. We've shared with you on our Discord all our releases. We're doing more, and we will share our whole GitHub repo very soon. We're launching our mainnet very soon. And we're going to share with you how the utility works and how much data we're going to unlock through this network and the Truflation Stream network. Sign up, follow, stay tuned, and thanks for listening.